Do you ever look around your space? Maybe it's that laundry basket that's always overflowing, or the junk drawer that's, well, more like a junk black hole, or, that stack of papers that just seems to multiply overnight and you just sigh.
Oh, yeah, that feeling.
The feeling of being surrounded, almost sort of suffocated by things.
Yeah.
Maybe you should deal with it, but you just freeze. You have trouble throwing things out because you think, oh, I might need this someday.
The someday pile.
Exactly. Or maybe you feel that little pang of guilt or nostalgia, right? You're emotionally tied to stuff that represents, I don't know, past versions of you or moments with other people.
Absolutely. That history tied up in objects.
Or you worry about regret, haunted by that one time you tossed something and then desperately wished you hadn't.
We've all been there, I think.
Or maybe, like someone we read about in our sources, you live in a smaller space where every single item just feels amplified. Where clutter isn't just messy, it actually gets in your way and you feel completely stuck, just stuck in indecision and, frankly, exhausted by it all.
That feeling is so common, and it's such a powerful sign that our physical environment and our internal state are, well, they're deeply connected. It's way more than just being untidy.
Right.
It's that constant sense of being overwhelmed by your surroundings, and that definitely spills over into how we feel mentally, our energy, even our ability to feel calm.
Absolutely. And that connection, that really crucial link, and how we can maybe harness it. That's exactly what we're diving into today. This deep dive is all about exploring that powerful, often overlooked connection between our physical space and our mental state. Specifically, we want to unpack how making some simple, pretty actionable changes decluttering your space can lead to a much calmer, clearer mind.
And to do that, we've pulled together a really interesting stack of sources. We've got practical articles, from places like Very Well Mind and Good Housekeeping, offering real tips. We've looked at insights from professional organizers, people who've really seen it all. We've also dug into some research papers looking at the psychology behind clutter, its effects. And fascinatingly, we even drew from a Harvard thesis that specifically looked into the potential effects of clearing personal space on well-being. So it adds this academic layer to something very personal.
Right. So our mission today is basically to unpack all this, pull out the most important nuggets, the so what and the how to, and give you a shortcut to understanding how decluttering, it isn't just tidying up. It's not about some minimalist look.
Not at all.
It's a practical, powerful tool for boosting your well-being, creating a more peaceful inner landscape. By, dealing with the outer one first.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's jump right into understanding the hidden impact of clutter.
Let's do it. The first thing that's really clear from the sources is that clutter's impact goes way beyond just how things look.
Right.
It's not just visual mess. It's functional, it's psychological, it's even a financial burden.
Right. It quietly affects everything, from how efficient you are each day to your deepest sense of peace. It really impacts your subjective well-being, basically, how happy and satisfied you feel with your life. Studies we looked at draw a clear line. More clutter often means lower feelings of well-being. Your environment isn't just a backdrop, it's actively shaping your mood.
Yeah, it really creeps into everything, doesn't it? The sources show how this physical mess affects our work, our mental state, and like you said, even our finances in ways you might not expect.
Oh, the financial drain is one of those things that really makes you stop and think. There's this widely cited statistic that the average person spends about 2.5 days each year just looking for misplaced items.
2.5 days.
Yeah. Think about that time. Those frustrating minutes hunting for keys when you're rushing out, looking for that specific bill, trying to find your phone charger. Over a year, that's 60 hours or more just wasted searching.
Wow, 60 hours. That's like losing a long weekend every single year, just rummaging through piles. And it's not just the lost time, which is bad enough. There's a real money cost, too. The sources point out that in the U.S. alone, people spend a staggering $2.7 billion with a B every year replacing stuff they know they own but just can't find in the clutter.
Billion, yeah. That's replacing everything from small things like remotes or chargers, maybe spare pens, up to maybe more expensive things like tools, clothes, even books you buy again because you can't find the first copy.
That's wild.
And this cost is especially tough in smaller spaces, which one article highlighted. When every square foot counts and storage is tight, finding things is just harder. Good organization in small spaces isn't just about looking nice. It directly saves you time and money because you can actually find your stuff.
And beyond the practical, the money, there's the social side. which is often this source of kind of quiet stress, right? The sources talk about something called can't have anyone over syndrome, chaos.
Chaos. It's a pretty accurate acronym, isn't it? When you don't feel comfortable or proud enough of your home to invite people over, friends, family, colleagues because of the clutter, well, that can seriously erode your social connections. And social support is so critical. It buffers stress. It's key to mental well-being. So if your physical space is stopping you from accessing that support system, that's a huge barrier to your overall health and happiness. You feel isolated, maybe even a bit ashamed.
It definitely feeds into that feeling of just being drained, too. The sources touch on this from a few angles. There's the feng shui perspective, which suggests cluttered, stagnant spaces can literally drain your energy, block the flow of qi.
And even if you're not into feng shui specifically, the idea resonates psychologically, right? When you're constantly surrounded by visual reminders of things out of place, tasks you haven't done, stuff that needs dealing with, every pile, every cluttered surface is like a silent little demand for your attention.
Yeah, it's like background noise in your brain.
Exactly. It's like having too many apps running on your computer, slowing everything down. It leaves you feeling depleted, less energetic, but also kind of paradoxically, less able to truly relax because those reminders of undone work are always there.
And the direct mental health impact is really clearly documented in the research we looked at. Sources highlight this strong link between living in cluttered places and increased feelings of stress, anxiety, even guilt. One study specifically noted that women, who often still carry the main load for managing the home, showed higher levels of guilt and negative feelings directly related to the amount of clutter in their living space.
That study also looked into some fascinating behavioral links. It suggested that messy, chaotic environments might even influence things like mindless eating.
Really?
Yeah. In one experiment, people in a messy kitchen ate significantly more snacks, especially unhealthy sweet ones, compared to people in an organized, calm kitchen. And this effect was even stronger for people who already felt a lack of control in other parts of their lives. It suggests that feeling out of control in your environment can kind of trigger or worsen other unhelpful coping habits.
So we're talking about something that's so much more than just visual untidiness. It's this quiet force hitting our time, our money, limiting social connection, draining energy, and directly adding to stress, guilt, maybe even unhealthy habits.
Exactly. It's a complex web, but really understanding the depth of this impact is the critical first step. You have to grasp what the clutter is actually costing you before you can find the motivation to tackle it.
Which naturally leads to the big question. If it causes all this stress, drains energy, costs time and money, why on earth do we hold on to all this stuff? What are the real reasons, the mental blocks that keep us surrounded by things that honestly don't serve us?
This is where it gets really, really interesting. Because it taps into some fundamental human psychology, cultural stuff. Our sources dive deep into the many layers of why we accumulate and keep things. And as you might guess, a lot of it isn't purely rational.
I bet. A huge factor, maybe the biggest, is emotional attachment. We form these incredibly deep connections with possessions, often without even realizing it. Think about it. That concert ticket from an amazing night, a gift from someone you love that feels tied to them, clothes you're keeping, not because they fit now, but for that future, maybe thinner, more active you.
Oh, the aspirational clothes?
Exactly. Or heirlooms connecting you to family history. Overcoming those powerful emotional ties is often the biggest psychological hurdle in decluttering.
I know that feeling. That little box or pile of sentimental stuff that just keeps growing. It feels like physical anchors to the past, almost painful to think about letting go.
Right, and then add to that the just-in-case mentality. This is that anxiety-driven need to keep things because you might, possibly, someday need them.
Even if you haven't used it in years, maybe can't even remember the last time, that thought pops up. But what if I suddenly need this slightly cracked plastic container? Or like that example from one source, an unused fireplace screen kept for decades, just in case they built fires, even though they never did. The fear of future need outweighs the current cost of storing it.
Yes, the what-if goblin whispering in your ear, convincing you utility might strike at any moment for the most random item.
And you end up with dozens of things like that, containers, spare screws, obscured craft bits. But as one source asks, how often do you really need multiples? Maybe 1 or 2 yogurt containers are useful if you pack lunches, but 20? That's probably just clutter. True. We also have to look at cultural conditioning, especially in places like the US, which is so driven by consumption. Our culture often equates success and happiness with having things. We're bombarded with messages: buy more, feel better, be better.
The data on this in the sources is pretty stark. The average U.S. household supposedly stores around 300,000 items. Just picture that volume.
It's mind-boggling.
And despite having only about 3% of the world's kids, the U.S. consumes, 40% of the world's toys.
40%. That gap is just staggering. And it's similar with waste, about 4% of the world's population, but generating over 30% of the world's waste. It paints a really clear picture of a culture built around buying, using, and often just storing or quickly discarding, rather than maybe valuing or maintaining things.
And there's a biological element reinforcing this, right? Tied to advertising and how easy online shopping is now.
Absolutely. The sources talk about how shopping, even just thinking about buying something new, triggers dopamine release in the brain. That's the pleasure and reward chemical.
A shopper's high.
Exactly. It gives you that temporary hit of good feeling. Advertising is designed to ramp up that anticipation, and online retail makes getting the reward almost effortless. A few clicks, it's on its way. This short-term chemical buzz makes it really hard to resist buying more, even if we know the long-term consequences like clutter, debt, stress aren't great.
So our brains are kind of wired to seek that reward, and our culture and technology are just constantly pushing that button, telling us more is better and making it super easy to get.
Precisely. And tied into this is how possessions signal identity and status. We often use what we own to show who we are or who we want to be, our place in society. Although, interestingly, the sources note this paradox. Surveys show many Americans feel this focus on consumption doesn't actually align with their deeper values or bring them financial security or happiness.
Yeah, there's a real disconnect.
A widespread feeling that what society pushes doesn't actually fulfill people.
It really does feel like we're collectively chasing something that isn't delivering the peace we expect, but we keep doing it.
And sometimes shopping isn't even about getting something new, it's about avoidance. The sources mention retail therapy, especially for women who are often targeted by marketing linking emotions and buying. Shopping can be used as a distraction, a temporary way to avoid dealing with stress, boredom, or other feelings you're trying to ignore.
A classic avoidance tactic, a quick fix that actually adds to the original problem, literally piling up around you.
So understanding these deep-seated reasons, the emotions, the just-in-case fear, the cultural pressure, the dopamine hit, identity signals, even distraction, it's crucial. It helps us see decluttering not just as sorting stuff, but as a psychological journey. Yeah. It means needing some self-awareness, addressing the why behind the clutter.
That's a really powerful way to frame it. But there is a promise here, right? A big potential upside that makes facing these challenges worth it. The sources strongly suggest that simple, deliberate decluttering can lead to a profoundly calmer mind.
They really do. It's about making space outside to create space inside. Remember that quote from one source. After decluttering, even admitting a few small regrets, the person felt 1000x better. That immediate visceral relief and lightness, that's a powerful motivator and a real benefit.
One source defined a peaceful home as a place you feel physically and emotionally calm, safe, comfortable. It's meant to be your sanctuary, right? Your base to go out from, your retreat to come back to. Hard to feel that sanctuary vibe when you're surrounded by chaos.
And importantly, the sources stress that peaceful looks different for everyone. For some, it's quiet solitude and order. For others, it's a warm, welcoming space for social connection without mess. The key is that the environment serves your specific needs for calm, safety, and function.
The Harvard study we mentioned, while it was limited, it did suggest potential for modest but real benefits to well-being after clearing personal space. It explored possibilities like improved self-confidence, feeling like you can manage your space, increased productivity, finding things, clearer work zones, maybe better relationships, less arguing over space, feeling okay having people over, and just feeling less overwhelmed by all this stuff.
And that aligns perfectly with all the anecdotal evidence and other sources. They consistently report that an uncluttered space makes you feel both more energetic and more relaxed at the same time. That mental load of visual mess and unfinished tasks gets lifted, freeing up brain power. You're not constantly reminded of what you should be doing.
So clearing physical space isn't just about looks or tidiness. It can actually create mental space. It reduces that internal noise, leading to more presence, mindfulness, mental clarity.
It's like decluttering your brain by decluttering your room. When you're not visually bombarded by mess, your mind has more room to breathe, to focus, to be present, to think clearly without constant distraction. The signal-to-noise ratio gets better both outside and inside your head.
Okay, so we get the problem what clutter costs us.
Yeah.
We get the complex reasons we hang on to it. And we see the big promise what a calmer space can do for our well-being. Now, how do we actually start? Because looking at a whole house or even just one messy room can feel totally impossible.
That feeling of being completely overwhelmed, that's exactly why our sources and pretty much every expert emphasizes this. Start small. Make it easy. Do not feel like you have to tackle everything at once. That just leads to burnout and giving up.
Okay, so what's the absolute simplest starting point? Path of least resistance.
Trash. Start with the obvious garbage. Go through your space looking only for things that are undeniably trash. Broken stuff you can't fix, stained clothes beyond saving, expired food in the pantry or fridge, dried up pens, old bathroom products you hate.
Right?
Remember that person who got rid of a wooden spoon just because it annoyed them in the drawer? Trash requires almost no emotional decision-making. It's just gone. That gives you an immediate win, builds momentum.
Makes total sense. A quick garbage sweep gives instant results, clears some visual noise right away.
Exactly. Or target a really small, defined area. Just one drawer, a single shelf. Maybe those college textbooks you know you'll never open again, or those gifts you never liked and feel zero guilt letting go of. A really good technique mention is to empty that small space completely first. Take everything out. Then, as you put things back, be intentional. Only put back what truly belongs there and gets used there. It forces a decision on every single item.
That feels way less scary than, okay, today, the entire basement. One drawer, you can actually finish that.
Much less daunting. And that feeling of accomplishment from finishing a small task, that fuels you for the next one. Now, once you move past the obvious trash into the stuff that needs decisions, the maybes, the duplicates, the sentimental things, the sources have some great practical techniques to make decisions faster and avoid getting stuck.
Like what? What kind of decision rules help?
There's a really popular one, the $20 in 20 minutes rule. Simple idea. If you could replace an item for less than $20 and get it again in under 20 minutes, buying it locally or online, seriously, think about letting it go. The potential cost of replacing it later, if you even need to, is often way less financially and mentally than the ongoing cost of storing it, looking at it, searching for it. It helps shut down that just-in-case anxiety for low value, easy to replace things.
That's a really good practical benchmark. Puts the potential future cost versus the current cost of clutter right there.
Then there's the quarantine box or the maybe box. Perfect for stuff you're unsure about. You think you might need it, you're not quite ready to part with it, but you don't use it regularly.
Okay.
Put all those maybe items in a box, seal it, write the date on it, then store it somewhere out of the way closet, basement, garage. If you haven't needed anything from that box after, say, 90 days, the sources suggest you can probably donate the whole box without even opening it again.
The holding zone for indecisive items. Test their necessity without immediate finality.
Exactly. Another common thing is duplicates. We collect multiples without realizing scissors everywhere. Dozens of mugs, jars, pens, extra spatulas. A good strategy is gather all similar items from everywhere into one spot. See the true volume.
Ooh, that could be scary.
It can be. Then choose the best of the ones you like most, that work best. Decide realistically how many you actually need and use. Let the surplus go. You probably don't need 5 bottle openers if you only ever use 1 or 2.
Makes sense. Seeing the sheer quantity together makes it easier to let the extras go.
And reevaluating those someday items is key. Can you repurpose the item? Or, more importantly, can you repurpose the space it's taking up? Remember the unused fireplace screen. That area became a cozy dog nook once the screen was gone. Thinking about how you can use the space can motivate you to release the item blocking it.
That's a smart reframe, not just losing an item, but gaining usable space.
For items with strong emotional ties but are otherwise replaceable, one tip is try taking a picture. If the memory is the main thing, preserving it digitally might be enough to help you let the physical object go, especially if it's not valuable or useful.
Yeah.
For truly special, irreplaceable, sentimental things, heirlooms, treasured mementos, the advice isn't chuck it all out. It's choose the best of the best. Curate your memories. You don't need every single thing related to a person or event. Pick the few most significant ones.
Right. Curate. Don't stockpile every single artifact.
And if you have sentimental items you don't actually use, like inherited china or clothes you'll never wear, store them respectfully but out of your prime living space. Box them up nicely, put them on a top shelf, in the attic, wherever. Separate usable sentimental items, like grandma's mixing bowl you use daily, from unusable ones, like a box of old photos you look at once a year. The usable ones stay accessible, the others get stored safely away. Acknowledge their importance without letting them clutter daily life.
So honor the emotion, but find ways that don't paralyze you or eat up valuable space. It's about balance.
Exactly. And sometimes, honestly, you just need to shift your mindset and let yourself be a bit ruthless, especially, as the sources say, when that powerful "I am so fed up with this" mood hits.
Capitalize on the frustration. Use that energy.
Yes. When you feel that surge of "I cannot live like this anymore," ride that wave. Be decisive. Try not to stop and second guess every single item or you'll get stuck again.
Okay.
A great tool for this, or anytime you're unsure, is the hold the item test. Pick it up, hold it, ask yourself, when did I last actually use this? When could I have used it but didn't? Did I use something else instead? Was it okay to go without it? If the honest answers lean towards not used, not needed, had alternatives, was fine without it, it's probably okay to let it go.
That forces brutal honesty about its actual role in your life now, not some imaginary future.
And give yourself permission to make mistakes, especially with cheaper things. The sources wisely point out, having to rebuy $20, even $50 worth of stuff later, if you genuinely regret tossing it, that's a pretty small price compared to the ongoing mental and emotional cost of living with clutter for months or years.
Right.
Don't let fear of a minor future regret paralyze you now. Learn from past regrets with expensive items, sure, but don't let that stop you moving forward with the less significant stuff.
That reframes a potential mistake as just a learning experience. Much healthier.
Taking a systematic approach helps too. Room by room, or category by category. Keeps momentum, stops you feeling scattered. Start with common clutter zones where decisions might be easier, like the closet. Ask that classic question, worn it in the past year? If not, and it has no super special meaning, like a wedding dress, consider donating or selling.
The 1-year rule for clothes. Classic for a reason that's clear.
Apply similar logic elsewhere. Kitchen. Go through drawers, cupboards. Look for duplicates need 3 whisks, 5 mixing bowls. Check expiration dates on spices, pantry stuff. Bathroom. Weed out old makeup, skincare, expired meds. Pare down to what you use regularly. This focused, systematic approach makes the whole thing feel doable.
Okay, so the starting strategy feels much clearer. Easy wins like trash first, tackle small areas, use decision rules like $20 for the quarantine box, be honest with the item, hold the item test, handle emotions thoughtfully but firmly, give yourself permission to let go, and work systematically.
It breaks that huge task down into bite-sized, actionable steps. Getting started is the hardest part, and these techniques really lower that barrier and build confidence.
Great tips for starting. But, as the sources also say, the challenge isn't just decluttering once, it's keeping it away, maintaining that calm space. How do we build habits so we don't just end up back here in 6 months?
This is where the real long-term change happens. Moving from a one-off event to an ongoing practice. One of the most recommended and effective rules for maintenance is the one-in, one-out rule.
Tell me more about how that works.
Super simple concept, really powerful in practice. Every time a new item comes into your home, a similar item has to leave. Buy new shoes, get rid of an old pair right away.
Okay.
Get a new book, donate one you've read or know you won't, bring in a new kitchen gadget, let go of one you rarely use or a duplicate.
That stops accumulation right at the door, basically, and managing the inflow.
Exactly. And crucially, it makes you more intentional about buying. Before you buy something new, especially non-essentials, you have to pause and think, do I really need this? Does it add value? Am I willing to get rid of something similar I already own to make space? It adds just a small bit of friction to impulse buys.
That's smart. Forces a moment of evaluation before it enters your space.
Scheduling regular short maintenance sessions is also key. Sources suggest setting aside time, maybe just 15-30 minutes a week, to specifically check and tidy those clutter hotspots.
Like where?
Entryways are notorious mail, keys, shoes, bags. Kitchen counters, dining tables also attract piles. A quick weekly reset stops these small buildups from becoming overwhelming.
A proactive strike against the clutter magnets.
Yes, and embracing daily habits, even tiny ones, makes a huge difference over time. The 1-minute rule is fantastic for this, mentioned again and again as key to keeping tidy with minimal effort.
1-minute rule. What counts?
If a task takes less than a minute, do it right away. Don't put it off. Sorting mail as soon as you bring it in junk straight to recycling, bills to the to-do spot less than a minute. Prevents piles.
Okay.
Hanging up your coat, putting shoes on a rack when you walk in, less than a minute. Putting a dish straight in the dishwasher, less than a minute. These tiny actions, done consistently, stop clutter before it even starts.
That's brilliant in its simplicity. It reframes those tiny moments as chances to maintain order.
And tied to that is resetting your space. Taking just a few minutes each evening, maybe 10-15, before you unwind to walk through main areas, put things away, return items to their homes, tidy surfaces. This minimum maintenance, as one source called it, stops the day's small messes turning into big weekend problems. You wake up to relative calm, sets a better tone for the day.
So consistent, small, daily and weekly efforts beat infrequent, exhausting marathon cleaning sessions.
Precisely. It's about weaving it into your daily rhythm. A quick clean is related, not deep scrubbing, but quickly wiping the kitchen counter after cooking or wiping the bathroom sink. Keeps essential areas functional and pleasant between deeper cleans. Stops grime and clutter building up.
And having a designated donation box seems really important in this system too, right?
Absolutely critical. Have a specific spot, clearly marked, a plastic tub, a shelf, a bag, for items you decide you no longer need or love as you find them. When you're tidying or decluttering and find something to donate, put it straight in the box. Don't set it aside to deal with later where it just becomes a new pile.
Yeah.
Then make it a habit to take that box to donate regularly once a month or when it's full. That closes the loop, gets the stuff out of your house efficiently.
Prevents the to-donate pile becoming another source of clutter stress.
Exactly. Gives items a clear exit path. And finally, maybe most importantly for the long haul, be flexible. Be kind to yourself. Life happens. You'll miss days. Things will pile up when you're busy or sick. Don't despair or use it as an excuse to give up. Acknowledge it, forgive yourself, plan to get back on track when you can. Adjust routines if life changes. Consistency over perfection is the aim. One messy week doesn't cancel out months of good habits.
So sustainable habits are built on simple rules like one in, one out, the 1-minute rule, regular brief check-ins, daily micro-actions, clear exit paths for stuff, and a good dose of flexibility and self-compassion.
That's the core of it. It's an ongoing practice, a lifestyle tweak, not a single dreaded event. It's about consistently choosing intention over accumulation.
Okay, we've covered the core principles, the practical steps. Let's go a bit deeper now into optimizing the space we have and thinking about this relationship with stuff more broadly, like the sources encourage. Beyond basic decluttering, what else helps create that truly calm, functional space?
Yeah, the sources touch on several ideas that build on that decluttered foundation. One key concept is creating functional zones within your space. Deliberately dividing your home or even rooms into dedicated areas based on activities and the items needed for them.
Like zoning your home based on how you actually live in it.
Exactly. Making your home work smarter for you instead of feeling like you're fighting its layout. Think about landing zones, new entryways, front door, back door, garage, dedicated spots, hooks, shelves, trays for keys, wallet, mail, bags, maybe shoes. Stops stuff being dropped anywhere, prevents those entry bottlenecks, saves searching time.
A place for everything, right where you need it, coming and going. Makes sense.
And creating workflow areas for specific activities. Even in a small place, you can designate a corner for work, another for a hobby like crafting or reading. Maybe just a comfy chair, lamp, small table, or a proper desk area. Helps your brain switch gears, keeps related items contained. Sources mention studies showing organized workspaces linked to better time management and focus. The physical structure helps mental discipline.
So the physical boundary helps create a mental boundary. Improves focus, stops one activity bleeding into others.
Exactly. You can define zones with furniture, rugs, lighting, or just being really intentional about what belongs where. Vertical storage is also huge, especially for limited space.
Thinking upwards, using walls and height.
Yes, like cities build skyscrapers, you maximize storage by using vertical space.
Yeah.
Wall shelves, tall, narrow bookcases, hanging racks in closets or kitchens, stackable bins. Getting stuff off the floor and main surfaces makes rooms feel more open, less cluttered, even if you still own a fair amount.
Seems obvious, but easy to forget to look up when you're focused on the floor clutter.
And don't forget digital clutter. A messy digital space, overflowing inbox, disorganized computer files, thousands of unsorted phone photos can be just as mentally draining.
Oh yeah, digital dread.
Right. Sources suggest applying the same principles. Unsubscribe from emails, organize files logically, use cloud storage, maybe scan important physical papers to reduce paper piles.
So declutter your hard drive along with your closet. Same principle. Manage information, free up mental space.
Absolutely. And specifically for work or study spaces, really important now with remote work, sources advise prioritizing ergonomics and layout for comfort. Use organizers for pens, papers, have a simple paper management system, inbox, outbox, or scan things, and critically, set clear boundaries between work and personal life, even in the same space. Put work away at day's end, have a ritual to signal you're off duty, start work stress invading your whole home.
That boundary, physical or mental, is so key to protecting your sanctuary space.
Our sources also briefly mention things like feng shui again, suggesting that beyond just taming clutter, things like ensuring open paths, adding plants, keeping windows clean for natural light can further boost the feeling of peace and relaxation, additional layers of intention.
So these are complementary strategies: zoning, vertical storage, digital decluttering, workspace optimization to make the space you have after decluttering work better and feel calmer.
Exactly. Making the space work for you, flow better, support your well-being. It goes beyond just getting rid of stuff.
This whole conversation really expands beyond just our homes, doesn't it? It touches on bigger societal things. Clutter, possessions, culture, well-being are all tangled up.
They really are, and the sources push us to see that bigger picture. We talked about American culture's consumption drive. It's this fascinating paradox. Despite high levels of owning things, surveys show many Americans feel this materialism doesn't align with their deeper values: community, creativity, growth, a widespread feeling of chasing something that doesn't actually deliver happiness.
And alongside that, the U.S. has massive storage capacity, all those self-storage units everywhere, yet people still feel overwhelmed by possessions in their homes. It suggests it's often a consumption or mindset issue, not purely a lack of physical space.
Which connects directly to movements like minimalism and voluntary simplicity, where intentional decluttering isn't just a task, it's a core principle.
Right, framing it as a deliberate choice to prioritize experiences, values, relationships over just accumulating more stuff.
Exactly. Consciously deciding what comes in, what stays, what goes. This intentional approach can have big ripple effects, like significant financial benefits. Focusing less on buying often leads to better saving, less debt.
And sometimes big life events really throw this relationship with possessions into sharp relief.
For sure. Sources mention major transitions: moving, marriage, divorce. Losing someone can intensify feelings about stuff, making items painful reminders or burdens. The recent pandemic was a huge example highlighted. Suddenly, home was everything, and its function and cleanliness became critical. It drove behaviors across the board: intense organizing for some, difficulty letting go, or even hoarding for others. Shows how external stress interacts with our relationship with stuff.
It really forced a mass reevaluation of our personal environments when they became our whole world.
And the Harvard thesis touched on a crucial societal point here. The potential burden that accumulated possessions, especially heirlooms and big collections, can place on primary caretakers, often women, particularly in multi-generational homes. Managing all that stuff can be immense, often invisible, labor, and a huge source of stress. Applying decluttering principles there becomes about fairness and well-being for the person carrying that load.
There's even the more extreme example of the tiny house movement.
Yeah, the tiny house movement is like radical simplicity in action. People choose to drastically reduce possessions, live in very small spaces, deliberately limiting storage. Sources note that while it's not for everyone, it often brings significant financial freedom, less debt, maybe no mortgage, precisely because they've fundamentally challenged the need for excess stuff and its costs.
So decluttering isn't just cleaning. It can be a doorway to bigger life changes, questioning norms, maybe even finding financial freedom.
It's a spectrum, definitely. From tidying one drawer to totally rethinking your relationship with consumption. But the core principle holds. Be intentional about what you own and how you use your space, for the sake of your well-being and peace of mind.
Okay, let's bring this deep dive toward a close. What's the most important takeaway for someone listening, maybe sitting right now in a space that feels, well, less calm than they'd like?
I think the core idea is this. Decluttering is way more than just cleaning or organizing. It's a powerful practice with real, tangible benefits for your mental state. It can genuinely reduce stress and anxiety, improve focus and productivity, boost your sense of control and confidence, and really contribute to your overall well-being and happiness. It's fundamentally about being intentional with your space and with the things you choose to have in it.
And you don't need to turn your home into some minimalist magazine spread overnight, or maybe ever. The path to a calmer mind through decluttering is built on starting small, taking simple, manageable steps, and patiently building consistent habits. Every item you thoughtfully let go of, every small area you clear and keep tidy, it adds up. It contributes to that bigger goal of a more peaceful inner and outer environment.
Celebrate those small wins. Be patient with the process and with yourself. Recognize that every step you take to reduce physical clutter is also a step toward reducing mental clutter.
It really makes you think deeply about our relationship with stuff, especially in this consumer world. If our culture's constant push to get more things is so often linked to stress, debt, feeling disconnected from our values, and if the data suggests it hasn't really delivered lasting happiness for many, what might a more intentional, maybe clutter-free relationship with our belongings truly unlock for us? Not just for our own personal peace, but maybe even for our connections with others, how we engage with our communities, how mindfully we interact with the world around us.
That's a powerful thought to end on. It suggests that maybe by focusing less on accumulating things, we actually create space for what truly matters, what truly fills us up.